Life is a grand adventure, filled with twists and turns we can't always predict. But here's the thing. We don't need to control everything to be happy. In fact, true freedom comes when we learn to let go and stop caring so much about every little thing that happens. Now, I'm not saying we should be careless or irresponsible. Not at all. What I'm talking about is freeing ourselves from the endless worry and stress that comes from trying to micromanage every aspect of our lives. When we fixate on controlling outcomes, we set ourselves up for frustration and disappointment. The simple truth is that much of what happens in life is outside our control. We can't control other people's actions or thoughts. We can't control the weather or the economy or 1,000 other external factors. So why do we spend so much energy trying? Why do we let these things we can't control rob us of our peace and joy? I'll tell you why. It's because we've been conditioned to believe that if we just try hard enough, if we just worry enough, we can somehow bend the universe to our will. But that's an illusion, my friends, an exhausting, stressful illusion. The good news is we have a choice. We can choose to let go of that illusion. We can choose to stop caring so much about things we can't control. And when we do, we open ourselves up to a whole new level of freedom and happiness. Think about it. How much of your mental and emotional energy is spent worrying about things you can't change? How often do you replay conversations in your head wishing you'd said something different? How many sleepless nights have you spent fretting over situations that are completely out of your hands? All that worry, all that stress, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't solve problems. It just robs you of your peace and prevents you from fully enjoying the present moment. So what's the alternative? It's simple, but not always easy. The alternative is to cultivate a mindset of acceptance, to recognize that whatever happens, it's okay, to understand that your worth and your happiness don't depend on external circumstances going exactly the way you want them to. This doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up on your goals. Far from it. It means focusing your energy on the things you can control, your own thoughts, actions, and reactions, and letting go of the rest. When you stop caring so much about outcomes, and you free up enormous amounts of mental and emotional energy, you become more present, more focused, more able to appreciate the good things in your life right now. You see, life is happening right now in this moment, not in your worries about the future or your regrets about the past. When you learn to accept whatever happens without excessive emotional attachment, you open yourself up to experiencing life more fully. Think of it like riding a wave. You can't control the ocean, but you can learn to surf. You can develop the skills to navigate whatever comes your way with grace and ease. That's what not caring is all about. It's about developing that inner stability, that unshakable core of peace that allows you to move through life with confidence and joy, regardless of external circumstances. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, if I stop caring, won't I become apathetic? Won't I lose my drive and ambition? Not at all. In fact, the opposite is true. When you stop expending so much energy worrying about things you can't control, you have more energy to devote to the things that really matter. You become more effective, more focused, more able to pursue your true passions and purpose. It's like cleaning out a cluttered room. When you get rid of all the unnecessary stuff, you create space for what's truly important. The same thing happens in your mind when you let go of excessive worry and the need to control everything. You create mental and emotional space. And in that space, creativity flourishes, inspiration strikes. You become more intuitive, more in tune with your authentic self and your true path in life. So how do we cultivate this mindset of not caring? How do we free ourselves from the prison of worry and excessive attachment to outcomes? The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to your thoughts and feelings. Notice when you're getting worked up about something you can't control. Just the act of noticing, of becoming aware, begins to loosen the grip of these thoughts and feelings. The next step is to question your thoughts. When you find yourself worrying or stressing about something, ask yourself, can I control this? Is this worry serving me in any way? What would happen if I simply accepted this situation as it? Often, you'll find that your worry isn't helping at all. It's just a habit, a conditioned response. And once you see that, you can start to let it go. Another powerful practice is to focus on the present moment. When you find your mind spinning with worry about the future or regret about the past, gently bring your attention back to right now. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Grounding yourself in the present moment is a powerful antidote to unnecessary worry and stress. Gratitude is another key. When you're focused on what's wrong or what could go wrong, you miss out on all the good that's already in your life. Make it a habit to regularly count your blessings. Focus on what you're grateful for. This simple practice can dramatically shift your perspective and help you stop caring so much about the little things that don't really matter. Remember, not caring doesn't mean you become cold or unfeeling. It means you stop letting every little thing shake you. It means you develop an inner stability, a deep sense of okayness that isn't dependent on external circumstances. Take the happiest, most fulfilled people you know. Chances are they're not the ones who try to control everything. They're the ones who have learned to go with the flow, to take life as it comes, to find joy in the journey rather than fixating on the destination. That's what I'm inviting you to do, to let go of the illusion of control, to stop caring so much about things you can't change, to open yourself up to the flow of life. Now, this doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, a journey. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns of worry and stress. That's okay. The key is to be gentle with yourself, to keep coming back to this truth. Whatever happens, you're okay. As you practice this mindset, you'll start to notice changes. You'll find yourself feeling more relaxed, more at peace. You'll handle challenges with more grace and ease. You'll enjoy your successes more fully without the constant fear of losing them. You'll also find that your relationships improve. When you're not constantly trying to control everything and everyone around you, you create space for authentic connections. You become more accepting of others just as you've become more accepting of yourself and of life. Your creativity will flourish. When you're not bogged down by worry and stress, your mind is free to play, to explore, to come up with new ideas and solutions. You'll find yourself more open to opportunities, more willing to take positive risks. Your health may even improve. Stress takes a tremendous toll on our bodies. When you learn to let go, to stop caring so much about every little thing, you release a lot of that stress. Many people find that their sleep improves, their digestion gets better, they have more energy throughout the day. But perhaps the most significant change is in your overall sense of well-being. When you're not constantly fighting against reality, when you're able to accept life as it comes, you tap into a deep well of peace and contentment. You see, happiness isn't about having everything go your way. It's about being okay no matter what way things go. It's about finding that place of inner stability, that core of peace that remains steady even when life gets stormy. And here's a secret. When you reach that place, when you truly stop caring about things you can't control, life has a funny way of working out even better than you could have planned. It's like the universe responds to your trust, your willingness to go with. Opportunities appear that you never could have anticipated. Relationships deepen in ways you never expected. You find yourself achieving goals almost effortlessly because you're no longer getting in your own way with worry and stress. So I encourage you, start practicing this mindset today. Whatever happens, choose not to care so much. Choose to trust in the flow of life. Choose to focus on what you can control, your own thoughts, actions, and reactions, and let go of the. Start small. The next time something minor goes wrong, you spill your coffee, you miss a turn while driving, someone says something that annoys you, practice not caring. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't matter, and let it go. As you get more comfortable with this, you can apply it to bigger things. A project at work doesn't go as planned. A relationship hits a rough patch. You face a health challenge. Whatever it is, remind yourself, this too shall pass. Whatever happens, I can handle it. I choose not to let this rob me of my peace. Remember, this isn't about becoming passive or giving up. It's about focusing your energy where it can actually make a difference. It's about freeing yourself from the prison of worry and excessive attachment to outcomes. As you practice this, you may find that people around you start to change too. Your calm, your peace, your ability to go with the flow, it's contagious. You become a living example of a different way of being awake. You may even find that you become a source of strength for others. When those around you are getting worked up about things they can't control, your calm presence can help bring them back to center. Your example can inspire them to let go, to stop caring so much about the little. Now, I want to be clear. This doesn't mean you become indifferent to injustice or suffering in the world. Not at all. In fact, when you stop expending so much energy on unnecessary worry and stress, you have more energy to devote to causes that truly matter. You become more effective in your efforts to make a positive difference in the world because you're coming from a place of inner peace and strength rather than anxiety and desperation. You see, true compassion, true service to others comes from a place of abundance, not lack. When you're constantly worried and stressed, you're operating from a place of lack. But when you learn to accept life as it comes, when you stop caring so much about things you can't control, you tap into an inner abundance that allows you to give more fully to others. So this practice of not caring, it's not selfish. It's not about withdrawing from the world. It's about engaging with the world more fully, more effectively, from a place of inner peace and strength. As you continue on this journey, you'll likely find that your definition of success changes. Instead of being focused on achieving specific external outcomes, you'll start to measure success by your inner state. Are you at peace? Are you fully present in your life? Are you able to appreciate the good things even when challenges arise? These become the true measures of a life well lived. You'll also likely find that your priorities shift. Things that used to seem so important, having the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect body, they start to lose their hold on you. Instead, you become more focused on experiences, on connections, on moments of joy. You may find yourself taking more risks, not reckless risks, but positive risks, trying new things, putting yourself out there. Because when you're not so attached to outcomes, when you know you'll be okay whatever happens, you become more willing to step out of your comfort zone. Your creativity may blossom in ways you never expected. When you're not constrained by worry about what others will think or fear of failure, you free your mind to explore new ideas, to express yourself more fully. You may even find that your sense of spirituality deepens. When you stop trying to control everything, you open yourself up to a sense of something greater than yourself. Call it God, the universe, higher power, whatever resonates with you. You start to sense a flow, a rhythm to life that you can trust. Now, I want to address something important. This practice of not caring, of accepting whatever happens, it doesn't mean you become a doormat. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you or that you never stand up for yourself. On the contrary, when you're coming from a place of inner peace and strength, you're actually better able to set healthy boundaries. You're more able to say no to things that don't serve you because you're not driven by fear or the need for approval. You become more authentic in your relationships. When you're not trying to control how others perceive you, when you're not constantly worried about saying or doing the wrong thing, you free yourself to be more genuinely, and that authenticity attracts authentic connections with others. As you continue to practice this mindset, you may notice that your intuition becomes sharper when you're not clouded by excessive worry and stress. When you're more present in each moment, you become more attuned to your inner guidance. You start to trust your gut more, to recognize when something feels right or wrong for you. This enhanced intuition can guide you in making decisions, big and small. Instead of agonizing over choices, endlessly weighing pros and cons, you learn to tune into your inner wisdom. You trust that whatever choice you make, you can handle the outcome. Another beautiful thing that happens as you cultivate this mindset is that you become more playful, more lighthearted. When you're not taking everything so seriously, when you're not invested in controlling outcomes, you free yourself to enjoy the journey more. You might find yourself laughing more, even in challenging situations. You develop the ability to see the humor in life's ups and downs, This sense of playfulness not only makes your own life more enjoyable, but it also makes you more enjoyable to be around. As you practice not caring so much, you may also notice that your resilience grows. When you're not knocked off center by every little thing that goes wrong, you develop the ability to bounce back more quickly from genuine setbacks. You start to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than as catastrophes. You trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. This resilience becomes a powerful asset in all areas of your life: work, relationships, personal. Now, I want to address a common misconception. Some people here don't care and think it means becoming apathetic or disengaged. But that's not what we're talking about at all. We're talking about caring deeply about the things that truly matter, while letting go of worry and stress over things we can't control. It's about discernment. It's about choosing where to invest your emotional energy. When you stop caring so much about trivial things, about outcomes you can't control, you free up enormous amounts of energy to care deeply about what truly matters to you. This might be your relationships, your personal growth, your contribution to the world. Whatever it is, when you focus your care and attention there, rather than dispersing it on unnecessary worry and stress, you become more effective, more impactful. As you continue on this journey, you may find that your sense of time changes. When you're constantly worried about the future or regretful about the past, time can feel like your enemy. But when you learn to be more present, to accept each moment as it comes, your relationship with time shifts. You start to feel like you have more time, even though the hours in the day haven't changed. This is because you're more fully present in each moment, more able to appreciate and make use of the time you have. This shift in your relationship with time can be truly liberating. Instead of always feeling rushed, always feeling like there's not enough time, you start to feel a sense of spaciousness in your days. You become more efficient, not because you're hurrying, but because you're more focused, more present in each task. Another beautiful thing that happens as you cultivate this mindset is that you become more adaptable. When you're not rigidly attached to specific outcomes, when you're open to whatever happens, you develop the ability to pivot more easily when circumstances change. This adaptability is a crucial skill in our rapidly changing world. It allows you to navigate transitions more smoothly, to see opportunities where others see obstacles, to thrive in uncertainty. As you practice not caring so much about things you can't control, you may also find that your self-confidence grows. This might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, aren't we taught that caring deeply about outcomes, about what others think of us, is the path to success? But here's the truth. Real confidence doesn't come from external validation or from controlling outcomes. It comes from knowing that you can handle whatever life throws your way. It comes from trusting yourself and trusting the flow of life. When you develop this kind of confidence, it radiates from you. People are drawn to it. Opportunities are attracted to it. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you trust in your ability to handle whatever comes, the more you find that good things naturally flow your way. Now, I want to talk about something really important. Self-compassion. As you're learning to let go, to stop caring so much about things you can't control, it's crucial to be kind to yourself in the process. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns of worry and stress. That's okay. It's part of the journey. The key is to not beat yourself up when this happens. Instead, treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a good friend. Recognize that you're human, that you're learning and growing. Each time you notice yourself getting caught up in unnecessary worry, it's an opportunity to practice letting go again. This self-compassion is not just a nice add-on to the practice of not caring, it's essential. Because if you're harsh with yourself every time you slip up, you're just creating another form of stress and worry. You're just giving yourself something else to care too much about. So be gentle with yourself. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Trust in your ability to grow and change. As you continue to practice this mindset of not caring about things you can't control, you may find that your relationships deepen and improve. when you're not constantly trying to manage how others perceive you, when you're not always trying to control the outcomes of your interactions, you create space for more authentic connections. You become a better listener because you're not so caught up in your own worries and agenda. You become more present in your conversations, more attuned to others' needs and feelings. This presence, this authenticity draws people to you. It fosters trust and intimacy in your relationships. You may also find that you become more forgiving, both of yourself and others. When you understand that everyone is doing the best they can with what they have, when you stop expecting perfection from yourself and others, it becomes easier to let go of grudges and resentments. This forgiveness doesn't mean you allow others to mistreat you. It means you stop carrying the burden of anger and hurt, you free yourself from the prison of resentment, and in doing so, you open yourself up to deeper, more fulfilling relationships. Now let's talk about work and career. In our achievement-oriented society, it's easy to get caught up in constantly striving, constantly pushing for the next promotion, the next accomplishment. But when you learn to stop caring so much about outcomes you can't control, your approach to work can fundamentally shift. Instead of being driven by anxiety about results, you become more focused on the process. You find joy in the work itself rather than just in the outcome. This doesn't mean you stop setting goals or working hard. It means you stop attaching your sense of self-worth to external achievements. Paradoxically, this often leads to greater success. When you're not paralyzed by fear of failure, when you're not constantly stressed about outcomes, you become more creative, more innovative. You're more willing to take calculated risks, to think outside the box. You also become a better leader and colleague. When you're not constantly trying to prove yourself or control everything around you, you create an environment where others can thrive. You become more collaborative, more open to others' ideas. This shift in your approach to work can lead to a greater sense of fulfillment and purpose. You start to see your work not just as a means to an end, but as an expression of your authentic self, as a way to contribute value to the world. Now let's talk about health and wellness. Stress and worry take a tremendous toll on our bodies. When you learn to let go, to stop caring so much about things you can't control, you may notice significant improvements in your physical health. Many people find that their sleep improves. When you're not lying awake at night worrying about things you can't change, you're able to relax more deeply, to get more restful sleep. This improved sleep cascades into all areas of your life, giving you more energy, better mood, sharper focus. You may also notice improvements in your digestion. Stress is a major factor in many digestive issues. As you learn to let go of unnecessary stress, you may find that digestive problems ease. Your immune system may become stronger. Chronic stress suppresses the immune system, making us more vulnerable to illness. As you cultivate a more relaxed, accepting mindset, you support your body's natural healing abilities. You might even find that chronic pain diminishes. While not all pain is stress-related, we know that stress can exacerbate many types of pain. As you learn to release tension, to stop bracing against life, you may experience a reduction. Beyond these physical benefits, you may notice improvements in your overall sense of vitality and well-being. When you're not constantly drained by worry and stress, you have more energy to invest in self-care and activities that bring you joy and vitality. You become more attuned to your body's needs. Instead of pushing through stress and fatigue, you learn to listen to your body, to rest when you need rest, to move when you need movement. This leads to a more balanced, sustainable approach to health and wellness. Now let's talk about creativity and self-expression. When you stop caring so much about outcomes, about what others might think, you free yourself to be more creative, more expressive. Many people find that they reconnect with creative passions they had abandoned. Maybe you used to love painting or writing or making music, but you gave it up because you were too focused on being good enough or achieving some external standard of success. When you let go of those pressures, when you stop caring so much about the outcome, you free yourself to create for the sheer joy of creating. And often this is when our most authentic, most powerful creative work emerges. You may find yourself more willing to try new things, to experiment, to play. This playful, experimental attitude can lead to breakthroughs not just in creative pursuits, but in all areas of your life. It fosters innovation, problem solving, and personal growth. As you cultivate this mindset of not caring so much about things you can't control, you may also notice a shift in your perspective on life as a whole. You start to see the bigger picture. Things that used to seem so important, so worthy of worry and stress, start to fade into the background. Instead, you become more focused on what truly matters to you. Your values become clearer. You start to make decisions based on these values rather than on fear or the need for approval from others. You may find that your sense of purpose deepens. When you're not constantly reacting to every little thing that happens, when you're able to maintain your center regardless of external circumstances, you create space to connect with your deeper sense of purpose. This sense of purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It might be as simple as being a loving presence in the lives of your family and friends. It might be about creating beauty through your work or your art. It might be about contributing to your community in some way. Whatever it is, when you stop caring so much about trivial things, about outcomes you can't control, you free up energy to focus on this deeper sense of purpose. And this brings a profound sense of fulfillment and meaning to your life. Now, I want to address something important. This practice of not caring, of accepting whatever happens, it's not about becoming passive or resigned. It's not about giving up on your dreams or settling for less than you desire. On the contrary, when you stop expending so much energy on worry and stress, when you stop trying to control everything, you actually become more effective in pursuing what truly matters to you. You become more focused, more resilient, more able to persevere in the face of challenges. You develop what I like to call detached involvement. You're fully engaged in your life, fully committed to your goals and values, but you're not attached to specific outcomes. You understand that your worth, your happiness, doesn't depend on achieving particular results. This detached involvement allows you to take action from a place of inner peace and strength, rather than from a place of fear or desperation. And paradoxically, this often leads to better outcomes when you're not driven by anxiety. When you're able to remain calm and centered regardless of what's happening around you, you make better decisions. You see opportunities that fear and stress might have blinded you to. As you continue to practice this mindset, you may find that your perception of control shifts. You start to understand that while you can't control external events, you have immense control over your inner world, your thoughts, your reactions, your attitude. This realization is incredibly empowering. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, you recognize your power to choose your response to whatever life brings. This inner locus of control becomes a source of strength and resilience, allowing you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and ease. You may also notice that your perception of time shifts. When you're constantly worried about the future or regretful about the past, time can feel like your enemy. But when you learn to be more present, to accept each moment as it comes, your relationship with time changes. You start to feel a sense of timelessness, of being fully immersed in the flow of life. This doesn't mean you stop planning for the future or learning from the past. It means you stop letting worry about the future or regret about the past rob you of the present moment. This shift in your perception of time can be truly liberating. Instead of always feeling rushed, always feeling like there's not enough time, you start to feel a sense of spaciousness in your days. You become more efficient, not because you're hurrying, but because you're more focused, more present in each task. As you cultivate this mindset of not caring about things you can't control, you may find that your intuition becomes sharper when you're not clouded by excessive worry and stress. When you're more present in each moment, you become more attuned to your inner guidance. You start to trust your gut more, to recognize when something feels right or wrong for you. This enhanced intuition can guide you in making decisions big and small. Instead of agonizing over choices, endlessly weighing pros and cons, you learn to tune into your inner wisdom. This doesn't mean you stop using logic or gathering information when making important decisions. It means you integrate your intuitive wisdom with your rational mind, leading to more balanced, holistic decision-making. Now, I want to talk about something really important, self-love. As you practice not caring so much about things you can't control, you create space for a deeper, more unconditional love for yourself. You start to recognize that your worth isn't dependent on your achievements, on what others think of you, or on any external factors. You learn to love yourself not for what you do, but for who you are at your core. This self-love becomes a powerful foundation for everything in your life. It allows you to set healthy boundaries, to pursue your dreams without fear of failure, to form authentic connections with others. As you cultivate this mindset, you may find that your sense of connection to others and to the world around you deepens. When you're not constantly caught up in your own worries and stresses, you become more open to the beauty and wonder of life. You might find yourself more appreciative of simple pleasures, a beautiful sunset, a child's laughter, the taste of good food. You become more aware of the interconnectedness of all things, of your place in the grand tapestry of life. This sense of connection can bring a profound sense of peace and belonging. You start to feel more at home in the world, more in harmony with the flow of life. As we near the end of our time together, I want to remind you that this practice of not caring about things you can't control, it's a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns of worry and stress. That's okay. It's part of the process. And the key is to be gentle with yourself, to keep coming back to this truth. Whatever happens, it's okay. You're okay. You have the strength and resilience to handle whatever life brings your way. Remember, this isn't about becoming indifferent or disengaged. It's about focusing your energy where it can actually make a difference. It's about freeing yourself from the prison of worry and excessive attachment to outcomes. As you continue on this journey, you'll likely find that your life becomes richer, more joyful, more fulfilling, not because everything goes your way, but because you learn to find peace and contentment regardless of external circumstances. So I encourage you, start practicing this mindset today. Whatever happens, choose not to care so much. Choose to trust in the flow of life. Choose to focus on what you can control, your own thoughts, actions, and reactions, and remember, you have everything you need within you. You have the power to choose your response to whatever life brings. You have the ability to find peace and joy, not by controlling external circumstances, but by cultivating inner stability and acceptance. So go forth with courage and confidence. Embrace life in all its messy, unpredictable glory. Whatever happens, know that you can handle it. Know that you are enough just as you are. And know that as you let go of the need to control everything, you open yourself up to the incredible adventure that is life. Thank you for your attention and openness. May you find peace, joy, and freedom as you practice the art of not caring about things you can't control. Remember, whatever happens, you've got this. Now go out there and live your best life.
Imagine for a moment that you had nothing left to lose in this life. Everything that used to weigh you down, hold you back, and keep you stuck has fallen away. You're left standing with only your raw, authentic self. How would you show up differently? What would you say and do if the fear of loss and failure no longer had a grip on you? This is the power of being silent and acting as if you have nothing to lose. And today I want to take you on a journey to access this profound state of liberated action. We spend so much of our lives desperately grasping, clinging to things we're terrified to lose: relationships, jobs, status, money, the illusion of security. We live in fear that one wrong move, one mistake, and it could all come crashing down. So we stay silent, we play it safe, we don't take risks, we water ourselves down and contort ourselves to fit in, all in an attempt to protect what we have, to avoid the pain of loss. But here's the truth: everything in this temporary world is already in the process of being lost. That's the nature of the human experience of life itself. Relationships end, jobs come and go, loved ones pass on, the body ages and declines. There are no exceptions. Sooner or later, in one way or another, every worldly thing gets taken away. So the question becomes, how do you want to live in the meantime? Shackled by the fear of loss or liberated by the acceptance of it? When you make peace with the inevitable, ephemeral nature of life, a deep freedom takes root in your soul. A profound sense of fearlessness emerges. You start showing up in an entirely new way. You speak your truth boldly, even if your voice shakes, because you know that self-betrayal is the only real loss. You pursue your deepest passions, even if the path is uncertain, because you know that not even trying is the only true failure. You love with your whole heart, even if there's no guarantee, because you know that withheld love is the only real heartbreak. You start dancing like no one's watching, singing like no one's listening, living like heaven is on earth. The more you make peace with death, the more you come alive. The more you're willing to lose, the more you open yourself up to gain. Things that used to paralyze you with fear, rejection, humiliation, failure become opportunities for growth, for revealing your unshakable inner strength. I'm not saying any of this is easy. The ego, the false self, will kick and scream every step of the way. It survives on fear, on clinging to the illusion of control. To act as if you have nothing to lose is a direct threat to its very existence. But you are so much more than your ego, so much more than your fears and limiting beliefs. At your core, there is an indestructible, eternal essence, a field of pure consciousness and potentiality. When you learn to live from this place, to anchor yourself in the ground of your being, the forces of fear and loss lose their power over you. So how do you practically begin to embody this way of being? It starts with stillness, with silence, by routinely withdrawing from the noise of the world, the chatter of your mind, and reconnecting with the quiet, vast spaciousness that is your true nature. In that silence, you begin to gain distance from the false self, from the ego voice that narrates your life through the lens of fear and scarcity. You start to realize that you are the watcher of your thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. You are the wide open sky, not the passing clouds. From that expansive vantage point, you can see the truth that so much of what you thought you needed to grasp, what you thought you couldn't live without, is not the source of your deepest fulfillment. Who you are, the love that you are, the awareness that you are, that is what's essential and infinite. Everything else is icing on the cake. And paradoxically, the more you ground yourself in that unshakable essence, the more fully you can show up for the temporary dressing of this world. You can engage without attachment, give without expectation, love without fear. You can enjoy the sweetness of this fleeting dance all the more, knowing that nothing real can ever be lost. Does this mean you become passive, that you give up on creating and achieving? Quite the opposite. When you act as if you have nothing to lose, you take more risks, not less. You become more bold, more daring in the service of your deepest values. Think of the heroes throughout history who changed the world, who left an indelible mark: Martin Luther King, Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, Rosa Parks, Nelson Mandela. They all reached a point where they were willing to lose everything in the pursuit of truth, of justice, where they valued adherence to their deepest conscience more than their own comfort, their own lives even. And through that total surrender, that willingness to lose it all, they gained everything. They tapped into a power beyond their little self, a power that made them resilient, unbreakable, unstoppable. A power that enabled them to endure unthinkable hardships while maintaining an inexplicable inner peace. That power is in you too. The same boundless spirit that animated the greatest movers and shakers resides in your own heart. Their secret was simply this: they got silent enough to hear it and fearless enough to follow it. So let's talk about some of the practical ways you can start to cultivate this way of being. It all comes down to practice, to reprogramming your default response to challenges and discomfort. The first key is developing a consistent practice of stillness, whether it's through meditation, solo walks in nature, moments of pause throughout the day. Find a way to routinely step back from the noise and activity and just be. In that space between thoughts, that gap between the constant doing, you'll start to taste the silent, eternal dimension of yourself. You'll begin to realize that there is a part of you that is always at peace, always free. No circumstance, no person, no worldly loss can touch it. From that place of centered alignment, you can start to take contrary action. Meaning when your ego is telling you to avoid something, to run from discomfort, you consciously choose to lean in. You start small with low-stakes challenges and work your way up. So let's say you're terrified of public speaking, of being seen and judged. You start by expressing one authentic opinion a day in a group setting. Then you work your way up to asking a question in a meeting. Then you volunteer to give a short presentation. Then you sign up for Toastmasters. Gradually, you retrain your brain to associate those experiences with growth and expansion rather than threat and contraction. Or let's say you're scared to end a relationship that you know isn't right for you. You start by having one honest, vulnerable conversation with that person about how you're feeling. You sit with the discomfort, breathe through it, knowing that you can handle whatever emotions arise. Then, if needed, you build up to following through with the breakup, anchoring yourself in your deepest truth. The more you flex this muscle of consciously moving towards what scares you, the more fearless you become. The more unshakable you feel in the face of uncertainty and loss. It's like building a spiritual immune system. Bit by bit, you transmute your reactivity into responsiveness, your contraction into expansion. Another key is practicing non-attachment, which is not indifference or avoidance. It's the art of fully engaging without clinging, without needing a particular outcome in order to feel okay. It's bringing your whole heart to something while simultaneously being willing to let it go. You can practice this with small things like savoring a meal without needing it to last forever, or giving a gift without expecting anything in return, or pouring your heart into a creative project and then releasing it to the world without being attached to how it's received. As you start to live this way more and more, you discover a profound paradox. The more you let go, the more fully you can show up. The more willing you are to lose, the more deeply you can love. You stop wasting your precious energy clinging to temporary forms and instead start flowing with the underlying essence of life. You start dancing with the great unfolding rather than resisting it. And in that surrender, in that willingness to risk it all, you gain access to a joy beyond reason, a peace that surpasses understanding. Now, I want to be clear, acting as if you have nothing to lose doesn't mean recklessly putting yourself in harm's way. It doesn't mean neglecting your basic responsibilities or disregarding your well-being. This fearlessness must be balanced with wisdom, with discernment. There is a difference between the ego's reckless thrill-seeking and the soul's brave, purposeful leaps. One comes from a place of escapism and desperation, the other from a place of centered, grounded faith. As you practice stillness and attunement, you'll start to gain clarity on that distinction. You'll develop a felt sense of when life is calling you to leap and when it's asking you to be patient, when fear is distorting your perception, and when your inner knowing is sounding the alarm. It's also important to remember that fearlessness is not a static state that you achieve once and for all. It's a moment-to-moment choice, a perpetual practice. There will still be times when you get knocked off center, when old fears and patterns grip you. The key is to have compassion with yourself in those moments, to forgive your humanness while recommitting to your highest truth. The more you return to your core, to the silence and stillness within, the more easily you can discern the voice of fear from the voice of wisdom. And the more readily you can course correct when needed, realigning with your deepest intentions. Living this way takes tremendous courage and faith. It requires a radical shift in perspective, a complete reorientation of your being. But as you start to taste the freedom on the other side of fear, as you start to experience the joy and aliveness of an undefended heart, there is no going back. Every single one of us has this capacity for awakened action, for embodied fearlessness. It doesn't matter what your past looks like, how many times you've stumbled and fallen, how much you feel like you've lost. In any moment, you can remember the truth of who you are. You can get still and reconnect with your essential wholeness. You can take one small, brave step in the direction of your deepest knowing. As you do this again and again, as you make this your living practice, your whole world will start to transform. Limitations that once seemed insurmountable will begin to dissolve. Stuck places that felt permanent will give way to newfound freedom and flow. Relationships that were fraught with fear and guardedness will blossom into deeper intimacy and trust. You will stop waiting for some future moment of arrival and instead start savoring the sacred perfection of what is. You will stop holding your breath in anticipation of the other shoe dropping and instead exhale into the ever-present wholeness that you are. From this unshakable ground, you will meet the great challenges of our day with a strength and clarity that can move mountains. You will become a force of nature, one that no loss, no failure, no worldly circumstance can fundamentally disturb. And though there may be times when acting as if you have nothing to lose feels impossibly hard, in your heart of hearts you will know the truth. That even if you lost it all, every last bit of the temporary dressing of this world, you would remain. The vast awareness that is your true nature would remain. The love that you are would remain. And in that knowing, you are forever free. Free to show up fully, to love boldly, to risk greatly in the short, sweet dance of this life. Free to be silent in the midst of the noise, to act true in the face of the false, to walk through this world with an open and courageous heart. That is the invitation before you. That is the potential. That is your birthright. No matter where you find yourself in this moment, that unshakable freedom is just one choice away. So now for a final contemplation, I invite you to close your eyes. Take a few slow, deep breaths, allowing your body to settle. Feel your feet on the ground, your seat in the chair. Notice any sensations, any feelings present in the body. Now silently ask yourself, if I was acting as if I had nothing to lose, what would I do differently today? What conversation would I have? What risk would I take? What truth would I speak? Don't censor your responses. Allow them to arise freely without judgment. Trust whatever your deepest wisdom is revealing to you. Now ask yourself, what is one small step I can take in that direction? One concrete action that would feel like a stretch but is still within my reach. Again, trust whatever comes. And commit to following through, to taking that brave step in the direction of your deepest knowing. As you step into this practice, remember that you are never alone. That every single person who has ever changed the world started exactly where you are, by getting still, by catching the quiet whisper of truth amidst the noise, and by taking one small, courageous action at a time. As you learn to act as if you have nothing to lose, you will discover a freedom beyond your wildest imagination. You will become a force of nature, an unstoppable agent of change and healing in this world. And you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that no loss, no worldly defeat, no apparent failure can shake the eternal truth of who you are. That radical freedom is available to you in this breath. In this moment, it's time to get still, to listen deeply, and to leap boldly in the direction of your highest calling. The world is waiting for the fullness of your gift. Step into the fire of transformation. Let it burn away everything that is false and emerge as the fearless, radiant vessel you were born to be. It's time to be silent and act as if you have nothing to lose. Your greatest life is calling. Hey there, have you ever felt like you're constantly being pulled in a million different directions? Like the noise and chaos of the world are drowning out your own thoughts and desires? If so, you're not alone. In today's fast-paced, always-on society, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of external demands and expectations. But what if I told you that the key to finding true happiness, success, and fulfillment lies in doing the opposite? What if I told you that the secret to unlocking your full potential is to be silent and focus on yourself? Now, I know what you might be thinking. Focus on myself. Isn't that selfish? But here's the thing, taking care of yourself, nurturing your own growth and well-being is not selfish at all. In fact, it's the most selfless thing you can do. Because when you're at your best, when you're living in alignment with your true values and purpose, you have so much more to give to the world. So how do you start focusing on yourself? How do you cut through the noise and distractions and tune into your own inner voice? Well, it all starts with silence. You see, silence is a powerful tool. It's a way to create space in your life, to slow down and reflect, to get in touch with your own thoughts and feelings. In a world that's always telling us to do more, be more, and have more, silence is a radical act of self-care. But it's not always easy to find silence, is it? especially if you're used to being constantly on the go, constantly connected, constantly stimulated. That's why it's so important to create intentional moments of silence in your day. Whether it's taking a few deep breaths before you start your morning routine, going for a quiet walk in nature, or simply sitting in stillness for a few minutes between tasks, these small acts of silence can make a big difference in your overall well-being. And as you start to cultivate more silence in your life, something amazing starts to happen. You start to hear your own voice more clearly. You start to get in touch with your own desires, your own dreams, your own unique path in life. Because here's the thing, we're all born with a specific purpose, a specific set of talents and gifts that we're meant to share with the world. But so often we get distracted by external expectations and pressures. We start to believe that we have to fit into a certain mold, follow a certain path in order to be successful or happy. But the truth is, your path is your own. Your definition of success is yours to create. And the only way to discover what that looks like is to be silent and focus on yourself. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Focusing on yourself, going against the grain of societal expectations can be scary. It can feel like you're taking a risk, like you're stepping into uncharted territory. But here's what I've learned over the years. The biggest risks in life are the ones we don't take. The biggest regrets are the chances we don't seize, the dreams we don't pursue, the versions of ourselves we don't allow to come to life. So, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're not living up to your full potential, I invite you to take a risk. I invite you to be silent and focus on yourself. I invite you to get curious about what makes you come alive, what sets your soul on fire. And as you start to explore those questions, as you start to get in touch with your own inner wisdom, something amazing starts to happen. You start to gain clarity. You start to feel more confident, more empowered, more in control of your own life. Because when you're focused on yourself, when you're tuned into your own needs and desires, you start to make better choices. You start to say no to the things that drain you and yes to the things that inspire you. You start to set boundaries and take care of yourself in a way that allows you to show up more fully in the world. And as you do that, as you start to live more authentically and purposefully, you start to attract the right people and opportunities into your life. You start to build a community of like-minded individuals who support and encourage you, who challenge you to grow and evolve. Because here's the thing, when you're focused on yourself, when you're living in alignment with your true self, you start to radiate a kind of magnetic energy. People are drawn to you, not because of what you do or what you have, but because of who you are. And that, my friend, is the ultimate goal. To be so in touch with yourself, so authentic and genuine, that you inspire others simply by being yourself. To create a life that feels good from the inside out, a life that allows you to make a positive impact on the world simply by showing up as your best self. But it all starts with silence. It all starts with focusing on yourself. It all starts with getting quiet enough to hear your own inner voice and then having the courage to follow where it leads. So if you're ready to take that leap, if you're ready to start living a life that feels truly authentic and fulfilling, I encourage you to start today. Start by creating a few moments of silence in your day, even if it's just a minute or two. Start by getting curious about what lights you up, what makes you feel alive. And then start taking small steps in the direction of your dreams. Start saying yes to the things that align with your values and no to the things that don't. Start surrounding yourself with people who lift you up and inspire you to be your best self. It won't always be easy. There will be challenges and obstacles along the way. But when you're focused on yourself, when you're tuned into your own inner wisdom, you have the resilience and the strength to overcome anything. Because at the end of the day, the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. The most important investment you can make is in your own growth and well-being. And the most important legacy you can leave is one of authenticity, purpose, and joy. So be silent, my friend. Focus on yourself. Trust in the journey and know that you have everything you need within you to create a life beyond your wildest dreams. It's not about being perfect, it's about being true to yourself. It's not about having it all figured out, it's about being willing to learn and grow. It's not about reaching some external destination, it's about falling in love with the person you're becoming along the way. And as you do that, as you start to live more authentically and purposefully, you start to create a ripple effect. You start to inspire others to do the same, to be silent and focus on themselves, to discover their own unique path and purpose. Because that's what the world needs more of, people who are willing to be true to themselves, people who are willing to stand in their own power and light, people who are willing to stand in their own power and light, people who are willing to lead by example and show others what's possible. So be one of those people. Be a beacon of hope and inspiration in a world that so desperately needs it. Be silent, focus on yourself, and trust that by doing so, you're not only changing your own life, but the lives of countless others. And remember, this is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, twists and turns, moments of clarity and moments of confusion. But through it all, keep coming back to yourself. Keep getting quiet, keep tuning in, keep trusting in the wisdom and guidance that lies within. Because when you do that, when you make yourself the priority, everything else starts to fall into place. Relationships improve, opportunities arise, and life starts to feel more like a beautiful adventure than a constant struggle. So be brave, be bold, and be silent. Focus on yourself and watch as your world starts to transform in ways you never thought possible. This is your invitation, your call to adventure. This is your chance to step into the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. This is your opportunity to create a life that feels good, a life that matters, a life that matters, a life that leaves a lasting impact on the world. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and get quiet. Listen to the voice within, the voice that knows your true path and purpose. And then take one small step in the direction of your dreams. Because that's all it takes, one small step, one moment of silence, one decision to focus on yourself. And from there, anything is possible. So go out there and make it happen. Be silent, focus on yourself, and trust in the incredible journey that lies ahead. Your best life is waiting for you, and it all starts with a single moment of stillness and self-reflection. Embrace the silence, embrace yourself, and embrace the beautiful, messy, wonderful adventure of life. You've got this, and I can't wait to see where your journey takes you. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And the journey of creating a life that truly feels like your own begins with a single moment of silence, a single choice to focus on yourself. It's not always easy to prioritize yourself, especially in a world that's constantly demanding your time and attention. But when you make the conscious decision to be silent and focus on yourself, you start to reclaim your power. You start to take back control of your life, your choices, and your happiness. And as you do that, as you start to make yourself a priority, something incredible starts to happen. You start to feel more energized, more inspired, more alive. You start to tap into a deep well of creativity and intuition that you never even knew existed. Because when you're focused on yourself, when you're tuned into your own needs and desires, you start to see the world through a different lens. You start to notice opportunities and possibilities that you might have missed before. You start to approach challenges and obstacles with a sense of curiosity and resilience, knowing that every setback is simply a chance to learn and grow. And as you continue on this path of self-discovery and self-focus, you start to build a deeper sense of trust in yourself. You start to believe in your own abilities, your own wisdom, your own unique gifts and talents. This is the power of being silent and focusing on yourself. It's not about being selfish or self-centered. It's about being self-aware and self-honoring. It's about recognizing that you have a responsibility to yourself, to your own growth and well-being, and that by fulfilling that responsibility, you're better able to show up for others in a meaningful way. Because when you're taking care of yourself, when you're filling your own cup, you have so much more to give to the world around you. You have more energy, more patience, more compassion, more love. You're able to be a better partner, a better friend, a better leader, a better human being. But it all starts with being silent and focusing on yourself. It all starts with taking that first step, with making that first choice to prioritize your own needs and desires. And I know it can be scary. I know it can feel like you're going against the grain, like you're breaking some unwritten rule that says you're supposed to put everyone else first. But here's the thing, that rule is a lie. That rule is a recipe for burnout, resentment, and unhappiness. The truth is, when you put yourself first, when you make your own well-being a priority, everyone benefits, your relationships improve, your work becomes more meaningful, and your life takes on a new sense of purpose and joy. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you've lost touch with yourself amidst the noise and chaos of the world, I invite you to take a moment of silence. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what do I need right now? What would make me feel more alive, more aligned, more authentic? And then take one small step in the direction of that answer. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It doesn't have to be a major life overhaul. It can be something as simple as saying no to a social invitation that doesn't feel right, or saying yes to a new hobby or passion that lights you up. The key is to start somewhere, to start prioritizing yourself in small, consistent ways. Because as you do that, as you build that muscle of self-focus and self-care, you start to create a momentum that carries you forward. You start to gain clarity and confidence, and you start to attract more of what you want into your life. And yes, there will be challenges along the way. There will be moments of doubt and fear, moments when you question whether you're on the right path. But that's where the power of silence comes in. That's where the power of focusing on yourself becomes so invaluable. Because when you're connected to yourself, when you're tuned into your own inner wisdom, you have a built-in guidance system. You have a way of navigating the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth and transformation. So trust in that guidance system, trust in yourself. Keep coming back to that place of silence and self-reflection. Keep making choices that align with your deepest values and desires. And as you do that, as you continue on this path of self-discovery and self-focus, know that you're not alone. Know that there's a whole community of people out there who are on the same journey, who are cheering you on and supporting you every step of the way.